What is up, everyone? Welcome to Plascards Podcast. My name's Fonzie. I'm joined by a very special guest. We got Chazzy AKA the Chazzasaurus Rex in the building. You can catch him on Side Projekt Podcast. He's on Instagram. IG hates Chazzy. We got him on Twitch. Chazzy did it. Check out his merch. Pleasure to have you in the building, sir.
Thank you, man. I'm honored to be here and humbled to be here. And I enjoy your guys' pod and everything you guys do. I like how you guys have the green screen and everything on Twitch and all that. And the stuff goes up behind you, man. I love that, dude. I love that, man. So I'm honored to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we just try to, change it up. We've had the cool backgrounds in the past, but I moved a couple times, so it just made it easier to just throw up a green screen and we'll just, pretend we're being chased by whatever, in the back of us and just make it work. But
you get a Chazzasaurus Rex in there.
There you go.
He'll come in and be chasing you, man.
Just don't copyright that. Otherwise, I'm going to get sued if I'm using your logos and stuff in the background. But
exactly.
Yeah,
it's true. It's funny, man.
Nice. Well, I don't know how you have the time. I appreciate you doing the time, taking the time to do this, but you're doing music. You got the pod going. It's like constant episodes, constant skits going on. How do you find time to sleep?
Oh man, I don't, dude. I'm legit. I'm legitimately like an insomniac. It actually really sucks. Like it really does. I'm on like 2 or 3 hours of sleep all the time. I'll go through like phases, not to like fucking like down the joke there and get all super serious, but
no,
I legitimately do suffer from some mental health stuff and anxiety, insomnia, and they go hand in hand. And it's an absolute battle. And it's not all sappy here. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it around, and it sucks. So this actually gives me something to put my racing mind into. All this stuff gives me something to distract myself from myself at times and just have stuff to talk about, stuff to do, things to let loose, for people that have tuned into my pod, whether you do or you don't. If you have, you know that my pod's very animated, I guess you could say. It's high energy oftentimes. It's got a kind of comedic twist. We talk about gaming, film, and cosplay. But these ways have helped me get through the stuff that I get through. And I don't really sleep, but it helps me either way.
I hear you, man. And like we can go, deep in the dark. We can go super positive wherever we want to go. But like that's just real talk. Like everyone's going through that kind of stuff. I have the opposite where it's like I have tons of time, but I still can't sleep. And I'm find myself like down in like kids cough medicine, at night, like literally. And I don't know what, and I'm building up in like an immunity to it. It's like, dude, I can't sleep, but it's, I don't know what it is, but my mind races too, where I just like can't chill. And so I'm just trying to find those things that, because I can't be I'm spending too much money on cough medicine. I got to find something else that, is cheap enough and natural to just chill out.
Yeah,
because, man, it's tough
exactly, man.
Something.
Yeah, no, I know how it is, man. We could be here talking about that all day long.
Alrighty. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. And I mean, you cover everything on your show. So I wanted to kind of dip into it. But with some of the games, what are you playing right now? I know one of the last episodes you're talking about the Nintendo Direct. You're a huge Nintendo fan, but like, what are you kind of currently playing right now?
Right now, one of the games, I'm not really playing too many Nintendo things other than since you brought up Nintendo, but I still am playing Breath of the Wild. I'm a giant Zelda fan. I've got all kinds of Zelda stuff in the background here, and I got Zelda tattoos and everything. But for some reason, I honestly don't even know why. I was super late to the game on playing Breath of the Wild. I just like waited and procrastinated, even though I've played like almost every single Zelda game ever. And like I said, a giant Zelda fan, I'm late. So I'm like midway through Breath of the Wild, and I keep going back and forth to that, in and out of playing. Right now, I'm behind on a lot of games, actually. I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now, finishing that so that way I can get to Valhalla because I still haven't played it. And then revisiting a little bit of Mario Kart, getting myself a little bit amped up and back into it since the DLC is coming. On my spare time, just like random games that I've been playing here and there that are just fun every now and then. I've been getting back into Rocket League. I don't know if you ever played that before.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, I play that every now and then, just as like a filler game almost. Just like, something to zone out to. You don't have to put too much energy into it. You just hang out and play it. And then I've been revisiting Mortal Kombat 11 as well, because just recently I did a whole Mortal Kombat episode where my former co-host, who's now just a guest, came back for that episode, and we talked about the Mortal Kombat movie sequel that was announced. So we did a whole episode about that, and that kind of amped me up to want to play Mortal Kombat again. So I'm not really playing too many like right now games other than maybe Halo Infinite. A lot of the games that I'm currently playing are games like I'm either revisiting or games that I was late to getting to playing in the first place.
Gotcha. Yeah, to touch on Breath of the Wild, like I was kind of in that same boat where I think the Switch was out for at least a year, didn't touch it. I finally did jump in there, and I kept finding it's like you can go anywhere, right? So I kept finding
Yeah.
the path with the most resistance. Like I kept getting just my ass kicked any direction I went. So it's like, oh, this it's too
Yes.
hard, and it's like a baby game. I can't even play this. But
Yeah, yeah.
my buddy's like, you got to give it a chance, and I guess I found the right path, or it clicked, where I
Yeah.
started figuring out just the enemies that I should attack first and going my way through it. I ended up loving that game. I played it again
Yes.
last year from beginning. Like I also lost my save, so I played from the beginning all the way to the
Ah,
end again. Had a blast. I love that game.
yeah, I can't wait to finish it, man, especially because I know Breath of the Wild 2, big possibility of that coming out this year if it doesn't get delayed any longer. So I gotta get on it and finish Breath of the Wild, man. I'm super stoked for it.
Yeah, same. Do you have any hope that we're going to see that this year?
I think that there is I want to say it's more than 50-50, but I I've done a lot of Nintendo episodes kind of semi lately, so I've done a lot of research and dug as deep as I possibly can. And with the Nintendo Direct that just came out and the fact that they really didn't announce too many like big budget AAA games, there was a couple things thrown in there, but I mean like big budget as in they're top of the top selling, like no new Mario Kart, no Odyssey 2 if that's what they decide to go with or even call it. Nothing new about Breath of the Wild 2. So my guess is that some of these bigger budget games we may not see them until the next iteration of the Switch or the next generation of a Nintendo console, whatever they decide to do. It could be a whole new console, or it could be like a Switch Pro, Switch 4K. Everybody's been talking about that. What I would like to see is a Super Nintendo Switch. I'd like them to call it that. If they
Nice.
have another iteration of the Switch in the Switch family, I think Super Nintendo Switch would be a great throwback name. I think it's a possibility of them delaying Breath of the Wild 2 and releasing it on whatever they may do next. But I also think that there is a very high possibility of them releasing Breath of the Wild 2 on this iteration this year and then having Odyssey and the next Mario Kart game be on the next iteration of the Switch. I think those two things are very high possibilities.
Yeah, I'm the same boat with you, and it's interesting where we got Breath of the Wild as a cross-gen release too. That was on Wii U.
Right.
So maybe they do something like that where if it
Could
is
be.
pushed, it's on it's overlapping into that next, whatever that next Switch edition is. A Super
Yeah.
Switch, Nintendo Switch would be dope. If they like also
I
colored it
know.
the same scheme, it's like,
Yes.
what are you doing, Nintendo? Come
Yes,
on.
dude. That's what I want. That's what I want so bad. I did a whole episode about what they could do, how they could do it, how it could look. Like, I really want that so bad.
Especially with they were kind of dabbling in the remaking those consoles. Like you had the NES Classic, the Super Nintendo Classic. They kind of stopped after
Yeah.
that. So they are
Yeah.
somewhat interested, and they have such a great history. It's like just lean
Yeah.
into that. I would love to be in on these meetings and listening to what they veto, like
Yeah.
what they let through, just see like all
I
the gold that
know.
they're just like leaving on the table.
I feel like there's a lot of that too with Nintendo, and I don't mean it like in like a really like in a bad way, because like I kind of like have this like a lot of people say on my pod like I have this like love hate relationship with Nintendo. Like I'm kind of always shitting on them,
That's
and
a
it's
lot of
like
us.
yeah, it is a lot. It is definitely a lot of us. Like even my former co-host Juice, like he's got I think he's got more of a love hate relationship with Nintendo than I do. But like there's just so many things that I can't help but question like why they didn't do this.
Right.
Like it's so obvious to do this, or like the fans have been wanting such and such for so long. Like you should do this, or like capitalize on their nostalgia factor. Like
Yep.
Nintendo's how many years old? Like nostalgia is such a big thing right now, and like I think I personally don't feel like they capitalize on their nostalgia factor enough. Like they could be doing themes for the Switch software, like just like Xbox and PlayStation, you could do themes and stuff. Nintendo's nothing. It's just a black or a white. Like they should add themes, and they should have like throwback themes, or you can make it look like a Wii or something. Like they could go so far with it and so cool with it that would differentiate them from consoles today, such as Xbox and PlayStation, or even hardware wise, like we just said with the Super Nintendo Switch idea, actually making it kind of that color scheme. Like, why aren't they releasing limited edition color schemes for the Switch right now?
Yep.
Like I feel like there's so many things that Nintendo could capitalize on, and they seemingly just have no interest in doing so. And I always question like why. Like if it's a business move, I feel like you would make so much money, but that's just me.
No, I think that's a lot of the, people online, the various podcasters, people in the industry. It's like, it's very much, we just question, like, what are they thinking? What are they doing? Because there's so much
Yeah.
money to be made. But also, that's kind of their brilliance, is that because they take such a different direction, you get a lot of cool
Hmm.
stuff out of them, because
True.
they barely know what the internet is. So like, they're just doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we get
it's
cool
so
stuff out of
true.
that.
Yeah, yeah, they are unique. I'll always say that, even with things that I disagree with, or things that I down. I will say that Nintendo stays in their own lane. They're separate from all the things that the other consoles do. They stay in their own lane. They do their own thing, and they do tend to push out unique things that you can't get anywhere but at Nintendo. So, it's kind of a give or take, a win or lose.
Right, right. That reminds me, I was just in Seattle over the weekend, and they have a bunch of cool like retro game stores where you can buy different like cartridges and
Hmm.
secondhand consoles and stuff. And I was walking around, I just kept thinking of, because Nintendo's been in the news again recently with their kind of switch to funneling everyone into that Nintendo platform, with the actual Switch, like that subscription platform. I forget what it's
Oh
called,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
for
yeah. I
getting
forgot
access
the
to older games.
Switch Online thing,
Right.
and yeah, yeah.
And they've been getting a lot of heat with that. How do you feel about them kind
Hmm.
of not being interested in like reselling you those games? Because we'll all buy them again, but it's like they'd rather just funnel you into that subscription
I
service.
I also see, I don't know, I'm kind of a different breed. Like, I don't know if I really even like that subscription service that much. Like, and I think it's because I was a big fan of the virtual console that was on the Wii and the Wii U, and the way that they did that. But from a business standpoint, I understand that, for instance, as far as we're talking like money, at least, I understand that they have to charge for it. I mean, look at Xbox, they charge Game Pass, all that. PlayStation has all their services, the PS Plus, PS Now, and then what could be in the future. So like, I get that there's an opportunity from a business standpoint to make money, to charge for these retro things. I get that. I understand that. But I just like the way that they went about the virtual console and how much they had. There was NES games, there was SNES games, 64 games, there was Sega games, there was like Neo Geo games. Like, they had like every Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance, Color. Like, they had like so much. And then now it seems super, super limited, very slow rollouts. But then again, it's like, it's where I constantly, I don't know if I contradict myself. I mean, I guess it is kind of, but it's like I question it within myself. I say what I say there, but then it's like that slow rollout creates more longevity though as well. So people are paying for it. You're playing longer, and then you're waiting. Next week this comes out. Next week that comes out. 6 months from now you're going to get 3 to 6 games that you've been waiting for, and it's like that longevity. So I get it. It's all kind of a business and marketing as well, but I don't know. I was a little disappointed in Nintendo when they raised the price, when they
Mm,
added the N64 and the Sega to
right.
their online thing. I think it's like, is it $70 now or something? Is
I
that
think
what it
for the
is?
whole
Seventy
year, and I
dollars a
never think
year?
about it in the whole year time, but I know like per month it's like relatively cheap. But if you pay for the whole year, then it's like, yeah, you're getting the
Yeah,
whole
I think
thing.
it's like $70 a month, and now it's become, I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It may be 60, somewhere in the 60, 70 range, but I believe it's now the most expensive um, subscription service in
Mm,
comparison to PlayStation and Xbox. And my biggest gripe with that is you don't get the same experiences with Nintendo for online, to me personally, that will truly 110% justify paying $70 a year, when in comparison to other consoles, Xbox, PlayStation, you pay for their subscription services and the amount of things that you can do and the amount of things that you get. And then even just Xbox and PlayStation, they have simple things like messaging,
right.
achievements,
Yeah.
like the ability to wear a headset and talk and not have to use your phone. Like, they have options. And then, I mean, I think PlayStation has it too. Forgive me if I'm incorrect, but I know Xbox, you can use your phone to join a party chat and do all of that, but you don't have to.
Right. Yeah, I think
With
that's true.
Nintendo, you have to. I like that Xbox gives you the option. I don't like that I have to use my phone if I want to talk to people in a party chat on Nintendo. I don't like that. So again, I hate to just like down and be negative about it, but that's just the way I feel. I feel like Nintendo could do so much more with their online to justify the prices that they're asking for. That's just my personal opinion.
No, I hear it, and it's all born out of love. Like this is coming from fans that want to see them succeed. And it's like they could do so much better. So these
Yeah.
are the things that they could work on, but they're just kind of completely in their own lane, doing their own thing. And it's just
Yeah.
frustrating, man, because they make such great
Yeah.
games. It's like, it's tough. And I'll
Yeah.
keep buying their stuff, and
I
their
will
first
too.
party is
That's
always
the
100%, like the
yeah.
best, but it's tough.
As much as I complain and as much as I like say things that I just said now, I still kind of am one of those people that like after I get over being a little bothered by it, I'll go out and buy it. Like, and I
Right.
hate that I do it sometimes, but I do it. It's because Nintendo is just so beloved. You grew up with it, and it's like, man, I just can't not buy it,
Right. That's the
And
thing.
I
And
think they know that though. They know that.
yep.
And that's why I think they do some of the things they do and they make the choices they make because they know we'll go out and buy it.
Oh yeah, that's why they keep their first party. It's like it's always the
Yeah.
same full price no matter what. But it's also because their
Always.
first parties, it's fire. It's like the best stuff around. Breath of
It
the
is though.
Wild,
Yeah.
it's all the
Yes.
best games around. So it's like they earn that price point for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Now we're talking Nintendo. I'm a huge Nintendo nerd. But I've been playing a lot of my PS5 lately. I don't know if you've jumped into
Mhm.
some of the next gen stuff. Are you playing on the newer Xbox, newer PS5?
I still don't have an Xbox Series X. That's what I want. Can't find one. Can't get one. Haven't been able to get my hands on it. I still don't have a PS5. Can't find one. Haven't been able to get my hands on it. It's been horrible. And then every time I get really close, they're gone in a split second. So I haven't had the chance. But I do have a gaming PC, so I'm able to play things on there. So that's how I'm playing like Halo Infinite. That's how I jumped into
Right.
that. So, but I haven't. I hate it. My brother has a PS5, so I've at least dabbled in it at his house and played certain things here and there. But I'm so behind on so many games, especially PlayStation, because I don't have a PS5 and I don't have a PS4 either.
Gotcha. Yeah, the Series S, you can find like 20 of those at every like Target. It's
I
like those
know.
are
I've
easy
been
to find.
thinking about it. But I'm like, I want the X.
Right.
Like
Right.
I guess I'll just continue to hold out and I'll just get the X. When I can.
I hear you. That's how I was. I finally broke down and got the Series S. I think it was right before Infinite came out. I was able to join that beta, and I was playing it on my Xbox. God, man, I'm blanking on the names, but it was the one right before the S. It's like that Pro version, the One X.
The One X. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was playing on that, and it was dope. But I could, already see from like Digital Foundry stuff on YouTube, you could
Right.
see how the Series S and X are
Mhm.
performing. And I was
Yep.
able to get that S, so I just bought it,
Yep.
and it's cool. It's a cool little machine. I'll put in like
Yeah.
the bedroom, have all the Game Pass games there. It's dope. It's hard
Yeah.
to beat.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm a big Xbox fan. I was a giant PlayStation fan, back in the days when everything was happening, the console wars and all this stuff with Microsoft and Sony when it first started happening, and PlayStation 2, Xbox, and all that. But PlayStation 2 was my last PlayStation console, man. Was my last PlayStation console that I actually owned. I've played on PS3s, I've played on PS4s, and then I've played on PS5s, but as far as owning them, so I'm like actually really far behind on any PlayStation exclusives. Like God of War, I'm so behind, and that sucks because I'm a giant like mythology fan and all that. And I've dabbled in it, played it here at friends' houses and this and that, but I've never gotten the chance to actually sit down and go through the entire series and the franchise like I want to.
Yeah.
But I know that one of them's on PC now,
Yeah, the newest one.
and I have a gaming PC, so I might just jump on that just to get into it. I know I'm going to be cutting in like the middle of the franchise, but like I may just get in on that. But I'm missing out on so many things like Insomniac, Spider-Man. People that watch my pod know that I'm giant on Marvel stuff, giant on DC stuff, into cosplay and everything. And I'm so upset with myself that I still have not played Insomniac Spider-Man. Have you played that? Is that a game that you ever got into?
Say less, man. Yeah, I was so crunk for that. I'm in the opposite boat where I was with the Xbox for so long. I got the original Xbox, got the 360, and all my friends were playing there. So I stayed there for the longest time. But it was around the time when The Last of Us was announced, and I saw that first like gameplay trailer. I was like, oh, I have to play this. So I even like took my stuff to GameStop and traded it in for a PS3 at the time. It was very controversial because my wife was playing Skyrim on that save on that 360, and I blanked on it, and I turned it in, and I don't know how we're still married. Somehow she forgave me, but it's a whole. That's like if you look at our timeline of our history of our relationship, like that's one. It's like a red X on it. But we got through
That's
it.
hilarious,
And
man.
I was able to play Last of Us, and then I was just, hooked on then. Played the Uncharted series, got into God of War, and then kept playing every exclusive since then, and got the PS5. And it's their exclusives, their first party stuff it's hard to beat, man. It's just top notch stuff.
I know, man. I'm so behind. My brother's always telling me since he has one, he's always playing like Spider-Man and all these other games. And I'm like, oh man, I know. Wait till I get the PS5. And he's like, just come over and play stuff. But then I'm like, I don't want to sit and play it, enjoy it on yours. And then like, I just want to enjoy it at home on my own. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to do it on mine. So eventually, man, hopefully soon. It's crazy. I almost kind of hate admitting it. Like I'm so behind on things because I'm such a giant gamer and I'm always talking about it on my pod. And then when people ask me, I'm like, well, I talk about it a lot, but I'm behind right now. It sucks, dude. I hate it.
I hear you, but at least once you do finally jump in, you have all these games that are just like
I
now it's gonna be a
know
matter of just
so many.
finding the time to play them because you're gonna have such a backlog,
I
but they're gonna
know.
be waiting for you.
Yep. I know. Can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Nice, nice. Well, let's jump into some of the news stuff. You know what? As far as what we're watching, what we're playing, what do you watch
Yeah.
right now? Because I know you're a huge nerd into all the Marvel stuff. Watching
Yeah.
TV shows, movies. Like, what have you been watching? What's your
Yeah,
big thing right now?
definitely, man. I just finished Peacemaker. I've been watching the
Ooh,
Peacemaker series. I love it. I don't know if you got into it or not.
I
Did
haven't
you?
yet, but I keep hearing nothing but good stuff about that
It's
show.
absolutely dope, man. Won't give any spoilers whatsoever, but I will say that I wasn't too sure on John Cena as an actor.
Same.
I've seen him in some things, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny. Like, he kind of seems like he's going the comedic route with a lot of his acting. And I've seen him in some things. There's this one movie I always tell people the movie's not that great. It's a comedy movie. It's like a B movie, a B list movie. It's not that great in my personal opinion. But John Cena in the movie was great. And I was like, oh, if he would have just been paired with better actors and actresses, like this actually could have been a really good movie that he would have got a lot more shine for and people talking. But he definitely did that and overdid himself with Peacemaker. It's amazing. From the comedy aspects to the superhero aspects to the more so serious moments, because every superhero movie has those serious moments too. John Cena did great and he made me a fan. I'm actually now legitimately looking forward to other things that he does. So Peacemaker, I just finished that. And then right now, I've been on a very big DC kick right now, going back and watching all the DC animated movie universe movies. And it gets
There's a ton of
confusing.
them.
There's a ton. And it gets confusing if you're not a DC fan because the DC animated movie universe is 16 movies that are all connected.
Okay.
They share the universe. Then there's the DC animated universe, which is different from the DC animated movie universe, but they all got similar names. So that's how it gets confusing. I think those are like 20 something movies or something that aren't connected, but some of them are connected. It's like, it gets so confusing, man. And because I'm such a big DC and Marvel fan, I haven't seen all of them. There's like 40 something movies. And then if you're including the series and stuff, TV series and stuff
Right.
too, there's even more. So it's just hours upon hours of content. And so I've been going back and watching them all in chronological order. And I finished all the connected ones. I finished all those 16 animated films. And then now I'm on to the ones that aren't really connected. They're just kind of standalones, but some of them are connected. But phenomenally done, dude. And I've just been really big on that, and that's taken up a lot of my time because there's so many of them,
Right.
So
They
I've
got to
just been
send you
going back
something
and
in the
watching those.
mail. Like,
I
what kind of
know.
fan is going through chronological order? Like, you need a Purple Heart or
Yes.
something. Like, you're going in deep.
Yes, dude. I'm going super deep, like super deep, especially because I do so much cosplay stuff on my podcast. I'm
Mm.
like I'm a big cosplay fan, but I've never done it myself, but I'm going to this year. I'm finally getting into it. And for anybody tuning in that cares right now, I don't even know if I've mentioned it on my podcast yet.
Oh, exclusive.
But yeah, but I have a special something coming out. It should be next week. Again, I don't know when you're going to put this on YouTube and everything, but it should be next week. I can't say too much because other people are involved, but it's technically by the time this comes out, the stuff should already be out. So, but it's technically kind of my first cosplay, but it's not like full fledged because it was kind of a last minute thing. But it's really dope still. It's really cool, and I linked up with a lot of cool people, and it just boosted me wanting to do cosplay myself even more. But my point to this was that on my podcast we talk about gaming, film, and cosplay. And when I first started doing it, the gaming was like the core point of my podcast, and the film and the cosplay was kind of just something that happened every now and then, besides my cosplay of the week that I do every week, every episode. And then as time went on, I don't like to say I'm the only, but that's what everybody else labels it as. And I haven't seen too many. That's how I always say it. I haven't seen too many at all. podcasts that focus on cosplay and focus on cosplayers and cosplay prop makers and everything in between, and gives them a spotlight, has them on, lets them talk about things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do other places. So as that became something that I did more often, my podcast became something that was bigger in the cosplay community. So, and then cosplay goes kind of hand in hand with superheroes, with Marvel, with DC, and with all those kind of things. So it's another reason that sparked my interest even more, because I'm talking about it day in and day out. So I'm like, okay, I got to go back. I want to look at things that I didn't look at before, that I overlooked before, that I didn't know if I was going to be interested in. This is the time where I'm going to sit down and like you said, I'm going to go chronological order. Like, yeah, they should hit me up. WB, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, I'm literally talking about every single one of your animated films. Let's do this.
Sponsor this man.
Yeah, man. But it made me just want to go back and look at even more. It just sparked my interest in that childhood love that I've always had for DC and Marvel even more, because I'm talking about it day in and day out. So if I'm going to talk about it day in and day out, I might as well dive real deep into it, you know? So I've been stuck on those. And then other than that, I've been watching horror films, man.
Nice.
Horror films.
I want to get into that, but just to jump back into the cosplay stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously not revealing like what you're working on, but do you have like a top 5? Like, do you have in mind kind of characters that you want to, or I guess just like one side of whatever Marvel characters, DC characters that you kind of lean towards, as far as if you were going to do cosplay, like who do you want to portray?
Yeah, dude, definitely, man. I'll just put it out because I think I've mentioned it once on my podcast. I'm not sure, or it may have been like in an IG live or on somebody else's. I have no idea. I don't even remember. But the first cosplay that I'm planning on doing, because it's I don't want to down anybody and say it's like an easier cosplay, but it's easier than the other stuff that I have in mind that's going to take longer, and I want to come out with something. So I'm planning on doing the Amazing Spider-Man 1, the suit from the first one, Andrew Garfield.
Gotcha.
I'm planning on doing that one because Spider-Man's always just been a giant part of my life from a child. You know, I just love Spider-Man like crazy. I think, kind of, even if you're not huge on it, everybody loves Spider-Man to some extent. You know, as a kid, you always looked up to Spider-Man, and I just really like that suit. I know it's a more in the cosplay community, it's a more it's a suit that's not as beloved as all the other Spider-Man suits, because it was kind of how do I say? It's like more of a suit that was kind of made for the film rather than ripped from the comics. So it's not very comic accurate. But there is a small community that really loves that suit because it's so different. And I'm one of those people. I'm in the minority. Like, I really love that suit because it was so different. And I'm going to do that one, and I'm going to do it with a twist. I don't see very many people do it. It's battle worn. It's going to be all ripped up and stuff. So, and then I have a plan for it in the future. It's going to be like a storyline. I'm going to kind of do like a storyline type thing with my cosplay.
Nice.
where it's going to eventually evolve into something else. So, but I don't want to say anything because that's way down the line. And then as far as the DC side of things, I'm looking at a couple different things. Like I said, these ones are going to take a lot longer. So that's why I want to go with Spider-Man first. But I want to do Scarecrow from the Batman universe. But that's going to be very intricate because he's got all kinds of stuff going on. And then I've been kind of thinking about Batman Beyond as well.
Ooh.
So Batman Beyond's a different, for people that may not know, Batman Beyond is a different one. It's not Bruce Wayne. It's when Bruce Wayne is older and he's mentoring a new Batman, and he's kind of a sleeker, a little bit of a thinner Batman, and it's kind of my stature and everything. So it works out for me. So
listen, if they don't know what Batman Beyond is, I don't want them listening to the show. Come on.
Yeah, man. So that's what I'm looking at. And there's a couple other ones sprinkled in here and there. I'll figure out when the time comes, when I lock something down, exactly what's going to happen. But definitely Spider-Man's going to be probably the first one.
Nice. Now, you touched on two things I do want to get your take on. So Spider-Man and Batman. We just watched, it's been about a month now, but with Spider-Man, the newest one with No Way Home. How crunk were you in that theater, seeing it and seeing the reveal? At this point, I think it's all confirmed. Everyone knows the deal. But
I think we can spoil now.
Right. But I took my my two nephews, and the earliest, or the youngest one is like 7, and then I got my older one. He's like 12, 13. But so the 13-year-old super crunk for it. He was trying to avoid spoilers. He's online on the internet all day. But the 7-year-old, he's like, yeah, I guess I'll go watch it. And then after we watched the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, what'd you think? He's like, yeah, it was cool, but like, there's too many Spider-Man. It's like, why is this? I just want one. It's like, "Oh, you mean the whole point of the movie you didn't like?" He's like, "I just wanted the one
Yeah.
Spider-Man." He didn't care at all. He didn't need it.
Oh man, I was hype, and I talked about this on my podcast. Like when I went to see Infinity War and I went to see Endgame Avengers, you would see online people in those theaters like freaking out and yelling and going crazy and going, "Oh my god," and stuff like that. The whole crowd, and some people like that, some people don't. Like my brother, he actually doesn't like it if a crowd is like too hype and too loud because then they're like they're yelling over the dialogue and you
Sure.
can't hear. So I get what he's saying, but I never had that experience. When I went to go see Infinity War and Endgame, everybody was really quiet, everybody's really dead, and I was like kind of wanted to get a little hype because I was like excited about things, but I didn't have that. But in No Way Home, I did have that. I had a theater that was absolutely erupting, going crazy, but it wasn't over the top. It wasn't over the top. It was the right amount. You know, people clapping, woo, when like Toby and Andrew showed up and stuff like that. That was really cool. And I was really hyped for it because it's again, it's kind of like my I don't know if it's technically my childhood. What was I when Toby, Andrew, I was already a little bit older, but Toby, I think I was like I had to be like a teenager or something. I
Yeah,
don't
so I'm
remember.
32. I
I think
think
I
it
had to be
was,
like
like, middle school around when Spider-Man
yeah, I'm
came out.
33.
2001, so I was in middle
Yeah, it
school,
had to be
yeah.
like middle school. Yeah, I'm 33. So yeah, I think it was like, yeah, it had to be like 13, 14
Mhm.
at the most, I think. So I'm, for lack of better words, childhood, But yeah, so when I saw Toby and Andrew, like I kind of lost my shit. I was like, oh my God, I felt really, really geeky. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I felt really, really geeky, but it was awesome, dude. I loved seeing all of it. Hands down, one of the best Marvel movies to this day, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just something special about when you spend so long with these characters, you watch them through, like, going back to the original Spider-Man, seeing
Hmm.
this new one, them come together. It's very much like you mentioned, Infinity War. It's like it's that same feeling of,
Yeah.
Cap grabs the hammer and the
Yes.
shield. It's like,
Yes.
and you hear the crowd
Yes.
around you. It's like it's just special, man. And sometimes I'll get takes online, like on Twitter, people talking crap about like just nerds and stuff and getting excited for the
Yeah.
moment, but I don't know, man. It's something special that it's hard to replicate. Yeah, these aren't real people, but it's just like when
Right.
they've been a part of your life for so long, you see this culmination of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just you can't duplicate that.
No, you can't. It's a special place for people like us that enjoy those things. You know what I mean? It
Right.
hits you in your feels.
Yeah. Yeah. I give my co-host Gavin crap. I think he's in the chat right now. I give him crap out all the time because
Mhm.
like, he'll watch one random Marvel movie every once in a while and then he's, mad about spoilers and stuff. But it's like he waits years and years to watch it. And it's like, dude, you gotta be in on it when it's going
Yeah.
down. Otherwise, yeah, the
Yeah.
internet gives you maybe 2 weeks before it's like
Yeah,
dumping
exactly.
everything.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky.
Right.
Yeah. Cause I always do that with my pod. I won't talk about things for like a week or two, just out of respect for everybody
Yeah.
else. But I see there's people that got it up like within hours. And I'm like, come on, guys. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you gotta give everybody a chance. Not everybody's got the same schedule?
Right, exactly. Now, you also mentioned Batman, and
Mhm.
I'm very, very, very crunk for that new one coming out with Robert Pattinson. Where is that on your
Yes.
anticipation level, like 1 to 10?
Oh man, 10, 100% for sure. When all that news first came out, you bet that I covered it on my pod like crazy, man. Like every other week we were talking about Batman and a lot of speculation. I was actually one of the people that I was not going like, oh wow, the guy from Twilight, like what the hell? I wasn't upset about it. Did I have my reservations and like worries? Yeah, definitely. I was like, oh, maybe, I don't know. But for some reason, I was just in the minority at the time, and I was like, why don't we give this guy a chance? Like this might be cool. You never know. And I don't know what it was that compelled me to think that way at that time because there was no trailers out, there was nothing out, but I was just like, yeah, of course I got a couple worries here and there, but I'm more leaning towards this could be cool. Like you never know. But then when they started announcing like Colin Farrell is going to be Penguin, that's one where I was like, I don't know. I don't see this. Like Colin Farrell as Penguin. I don't know if I see this. But then when you see Colin Farrell as Penguin, it's like it doesn't even look like him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he literally transformed into that character, and it's all this, prosthetics and stuff. So it goes to show you sometimes you got to give these actors a chance because this movie looks absolutely phenomenal. But it's not even just the actors. It's got to be the writing, it's the production, it's the executives who make the decisions, the director. Everybody's got to be on an even keel to make something special. And I think that's what this Batman movie is going to be. And I've said it a few times on my pod and haven't had too many people fight me on this, but I'm going to say it again here. I think that this might just be the best Batman film that we've ever gotten. And some
Ooh,
people
buddy.
go, what? No, Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton's the best bat. I get a lot of people that debate with me on that. But for the most part, I do actually get people that agree with me. And I find that I didn't expect that at all. But I really do think my hype level is through the roof, man. I cannot wait.
Oh, same. And I think when you make comments like that, like this might be the best one, it doesn't erase those originals. It's like we can't get here without those. Like
Yeah,
they play an important role,
exactly.
say with the OG Spider-Man or even X-Men, like those original ones, like that paved the way for what we got now. But it's just
Yeah.
like because we keep up in the ante, it's like it can get better and it does. I mean, I
Yes.
thought Dark Knight was like one of my favorite superhero
Mhm.
movies ever. And it's like they
Yeah.
just keep raising it. And to touch on
Yeah.
your issue with Robert Pattinson, like I understand that. And I think
Mhm.
ever since Heath Ledger was announced as Joker. So I wasn't on the internet every day like I am now. So I didn't see that he got
Yeah.
a lot of heat during that time when it was
Yeah.
announced. They didn't
Same. Yeah.
trust him, didn't see him in that role. But then
Mhm.
obviously he makes it the most iconic thing that everyone's trying to
Exactly.
replicate. So it's like since then, it's like, oh yeah, whoever they announce, I want the weirder the better because they're gonna bring something
Yeah.
different to it. So I have no
Yeah.
issues now.
Yeah, no, yeah, and that's a great example, like the Heath Ledger thing. Like, imagine if we did not give him a chance. Like, you will look at
Right.
what we would have missed out on, because that happens sometimes too, where like fans go so hard and an actor will back out of the role. It doesn't happen too often, but it does happen. There are times where they're like, okay, and they back out of a role, or the executives make the decision, maybe like, hey, we're gonna go a different direction. Like this just isn't working out. Like, imagine if that would have happened with Heath Ledger, and we would have never got the Joker that we got. Like, so same thing. I tell people, like, in my personal opinion, like, give Robert a chance. You know what I mean? What if he would have backed out of this? Like, look at the trailers. The trailers, at least, and the trailers aren't always everything. You never know, But the trailers so far, they look absolutely phenomenal. From everybody, they look absolutely great.
Yeah, you're right, and that's why we got to give Chris Pratt a chance with Mario. He could pull out a Heath Ledger. He could
True.
do the same. No,
True.
I have no hope in him. Like I'm turning the other direction, where it's like I don't know how he's gonna be Mario. How that makes
I
sense
don't know
at all.
either, dude. I've said the same thing. I'm like, I want to be optimistic, but I'm confused. It's like a
Yeah.
confusing casting. But then again, I gotta say, like, I don't know. Like, I almost feel like anybody, I would be confused on how they're going to approach Mario. Like, I can't personally, and if anybody else can, that's great. I can't personally think of, like, yeah, I would definitely cast this person to be Mario. Like, I can't even think of somebody. Like, in my personal opinion, like Charles, what's his name? Charles, who does his voice? Charles Martinet, right?
I think
Charles
Martinet or something like that. Yeah.
Martinet, yeah. Like, he's been the Mario voice forever. like,
Yep.
like that is Mario, and it's been confirmed that Chris Pratt will not be doing the classic Mario voice. It's been confirmed. He's going to do some iteration, and also been confirmed that it won't be an Italian voice either.
Gotcha.
He's not going to do the racial thing. So it's not going to be an Italian thing, and it's not going to be identical to what we know Mario sounds like now. So it's somewhere in
What
between.
the hell is he gonna do?
I have no idea, but people are saying, insiders, I was reading some stuff. I don't remember where the sources come from, so who knows if it's even 100% legitimate. I don't have it in front of me, but I remember reading that sources were saying it's actually good. It's a good Mario voice. But again, I don't know where these sources came from. If they have to say that,
Right.
It could be production and they have to say it, under contract, they got to say good things about it. I have no idea, but no matter who it is, I think people are going to be like, well, what kind of voice are you going to do for Mario?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, once
Yeah.
that trailer does drop online and we hear that voice, I mean, the internet's just gonna melt.
Oh,
Whether
it's
it's good or
gonna- yeah.
bad, it's like it
Yeah.
could be dope. You're totally right.
Yes.
But either way, that reaction is gonna be nuts. So I just can't wait
Oh
to
yeah,
hear
it's
it.
gonna break the internet for sure. A
Yeah.
Mario movie finally, after all these years, just that alone,
Right.
it's just gonna break the internet. And then the fact that they're having, like, it's not even just Mario. You got the whole family there: Luigi, Peach, Bowser, even Donkey Kong's in it.
Right.
Like, I can't wait for this movie.
Yeah, no, it makes sense on so many levels. So it's just the Chris Pratt part. But if he
Yeah.
can pull it off, then more power to him. I'm just really excited to see what he's gonna do, man. It's
Yeah,
very
me too.
very curious.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Nice, Chazzy. Well, let's move on to some of we got some news. Some stuff I want to get your
Yeah.
take on. Now, I don't know if you're a huge fan of just like torturing yourself, but Elden Ring is coming out this Friday, and it's those Souls games that just like beat your ass into the dirt.
Yeah.
It's coming out now. The Metacritic is lighting up online. So on Twitter, I got to see the reviews drop this morning. The review embargo lifted, and it's just getting 10s out of 10s. It's got a 97 Metacritic right now. Is this on your hype level? Like, how do you feel about Elden Ring, and are you excited for it?
Yeah, I never really got too deep into the Dark Souls games. I did play them and dabble in them here and there. They are very difficult. Like, they're not for the, I mean, they're not like, I mean, well, it can get really insane, but I mean, it's not, I guess you could kind of say it's not for the average everyday gamer. It's for somebody who wants more of a challenge, and I understand that. But Elden Ring, like I said, I didn't get too deep into Dark Souls, but Elden Ring just it strikes my interest much more than the Dark Souls games did, and I don't know exactly why that is, but it does, and I can't wait for it. It's coming out in like 2 days or something, right?
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, yeah. No, I actually really want to get it, and I'm not sure. I don't know. Is it going to be available on PC? I actually haven't checked that.
It is, yeah. So it's on
Is
PC.
it okay?
I'm hearing that there's some bugs on PC. I don't know if it's legit or not,
Oh
but
man.
either way, it's
Okay.
on PC. It's on PS5, PS4. I want to say too, but I can't
Yeah.
confirm. At least on current gen and PC as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I know it's coming to the consoles for. I just didn't know if it was coming to PC or not because since I don't have a PS5 right now or an Xbox Series
Right.
X, I'm not really interested in getting it like on my Xbox One, you know. So I'd rather maybe get it on my PC or have to be another moment where I wait,
Yeah.
you know. So, but I'm thinking I may get it on my PC. But if it's like super buggy, I might hold out a little bit, you know, until they fix all that, patch all that up. But I actually am interested in it. It looks absolutely beautiful as well. The scenery looks absolutely nuts. I was watching gameplay just the other day actually, and there's this like one, I don't know what it's called. There's like this like rock big like building, like a building on top of a rock that's like walking, and it's got a bell hanging off like it's what would be stomach, I guess. And it's just absolutely gargantuan. And I'm just like, oh my God, that looks absolutely amazing, dude. And it reminds me of like Shadow of the Colossus. I don't know if you ever played that game or not.
Yeah, that's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
but
Oh yeah.
yeah, but that moment reminded me of that, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I love Shadow of the Colossus. Like I definitely want to play Elden Ring and all the dragons and everything. I'm a huge Skyrim fan. I'm a huge World of Warcraft fan, so I love stuff like that. So yeah, Elden Ring is definitely on the top of my list to get into for sure.
Yeah, it's I wish I could play these games. I'm just like too dumb or what's going on where I just cannot play them physically.
I feel that though too. I'm on both
Yeah.
sides.
Because it's
Yeah.
like they're always the most beautiful too. Whether it's Bloodborne, it was on
Hmm.
PS4. You have
Right.
Returnal was on PS5. I bought that, couldn't play it too. It was
Hmm.
super hard. But these
Yeah.
games always look so beautiful, and it's like, and
Hmm.
then I'm waiting for the reviews to drop, and then same thing with Elden Ring. I'm seeing some reviewers say that it is somewhat approachable for newbies because
Uh-huh.
it's got the open world. You can leave an area to kind of
Right.
cool down and come back, level up. But then I'm seeing other
Right.
people saying like, no, it's definitely a Souls game style. So it's like
Right.
it's punishingly hard. So I'm
Right.
just not gonna get tricked again. I'm gonna let that whole fan base. I'm glad they're having a
Yeah.
blast, or they're gonna have a blast,
Right.
but it's just not for me, man. It's just too tough.
Right. Yeah, I actually I've been hearing the both sides of the things. I've been seeing a little bit more of who did I watch? Oh man, I can't remember. I watched some publication. There is, I think it's Game Ranks or Game
Okay,
Ranks.
yeah,
Have you heard of them?
yeah, yeah.
They did a video on it. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they said that it's a little bit like what you said, a little bit more approachable than Dark Souls, but it still is very much so Dark Souls esque. But it's a little bit more approachable for the everyday gamer that wants to jump into it or maybe hasn't ever played a Dark Souls game. I believe they said something along those lines, which attracted me even more because, like I said, I never really dove very deep into Dark Souls at all. Like I never even bought it. I just played it at a friend's house. So,
Gotcha.
but I'm
Yeah,
definitely interested in checking it out. You know, will I dive deep into it? Am I going to 100% like it? I'm not sure, but it does. It's beautiful. It looks amazing, and it piques my interest. So I'm going to at least give it a shot.
yeah, yeah. I'm hopeful maybe one day I can play this thing, but
Mhm.
and they never do like a baby mode, for people like me. So it's like,
Yeah,
damn,
not
it
these
just
ones. No.
sucks. No, and then that fan base
No.
would get so angry if they even like
Oh
talk
yeah,
about it, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
it's
I
weird.
know.
But yeah, I mean, it's what's also caught me off guard. I guess it didn't catch me off guard, but I expected it to be very, a top-notch experience, getting 9s out of 10s, but like 10 out of 10 across the board is pretty nuts. Like it's
Yeah,
one of the highest reviewed games of all time, apparently, going
yeah,
according to Metacritic. So getting
yeah.
a game like that, this, right out of the gate, basically in 2021, it's like, so, what's going to
Right.
top that coming out this year? And it's nuts
Yeah.
to even imagine like what's
Right.
going to, you know,
Yeah.
push them off the top of the list.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm super into stuff that surrounds that realm in that game. Like I said, Skyrim, World of Warcraft, or anything like that. Dragons, big mythological creatures and stuff like that. Like I'm super big on that stuff. I always have been since a kid. I even just love like Greek mythology stories and stuff. So I'm definitely interested in checking it out. We'll see if I continue with it after
Yeah.
I play it. But I'm
That,
definitely interested in checking it out.
yeah, same here. I'm hoping that one
Yeah,
day be able to play those, but
yeah, same.
nice. We'll move on to the next one here. We got PSVR 2 news. So this was just a couple days ago, Monday. We got to see the final look on the headset. So we got to see the actual controllers for a couple months now. We've seen them for a bit,
Yeah.
but now we actually get the headset. What do you think about seeing this thing? They're trying to replicate, Sony said they're trying to replicate the look of the PS5 with the smooth edges and kind of roundedness to it. How do you feel about seeing this headset?
Man, I think it's dope actually. I haven't got into much VR. Are you into VR yourself?
Yeah, so I jumped into Oculus Quest, the first one. I bought it.
Hmm.
I think I bought it like maybe 2 months before the Oculus Quest 2 was announced, which was way cheaper. So I'm like, okay, that's
Hmm.
cool. But I bought it originally for
Yeah.
to play a Half-Life Alex, and that
Oh,
was
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
one of my favorite
Yeah.
experiences ever. Like Half-Life Alex, if you can play it, is so dope. And so because I started into that ecosystem, then I got the Oculus 2, got it for a Resident Evil 4 VR, which is also another nuts experience. But
Yeah.
I'm sort of skittish about PSVR because I didn't pick it up when I had my PlayStation, the original PSVR, just because the games just didn't have enough to
Hmm.
pull me. I know they had Resident Evil
Right.
6, I want to say, was on there in VR, the one before Village,
Hmm.
but didn't play that. But this one looks cool.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's hard to peel me away from my Oculus too, because it's, it's one thing you put on your head. That's all you need. You don't need a PS5. So this one seems
Right.
like a harder sell.
Yeah. Yeah. You already got something going on. But for people that maybe don't have something going on, this may be something that they're really interested in. For me, I don't, like I said, I don't have a PlayStation right now. I haven't really got into like VR, and there's a side of me that really wants to. But the reason I haven't got into it is because kind of what you said about like not very many games and stuff. I feel like there's, to me personally, but again, I haven't really dove into it, so maybe I'm incorrect. But there hasn't been too many games in VR that I'm like, oh, I got to go out and get that right now. Like I want to play that right now. I don't know if it's as adapted as regular gaming is, for me at least. I mean, being somebody that's into it, is there more of a choice than there was a year or two ago?
I think there is now for sure. And what really expanded that was Oculus, because it's a cheaper, especially now, it's a cheaper way to jump in. It's 300
Hmm.
bucks, 400 bucks to buy this one headset. That's all you need. You don't need a PC anymore, like how it was originally with stuff like the Index
Right, I remember
and
that. Yeah.
whatnot. So now you just need that device. So there's a ton of indie stuff on there. There's Resident Evil 4 VR, which is like a legit, rebranding of that game into that VR space that works really well. So they're taking really good experiences, putting them on VR. VR at the end of the day isn't for everybody, because there's a motion
Yeah.
sickness thing that can happen. You need the right,
Hmm.
space for it, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
there's definitely some games now that are worth it. Well, I've mentioned Half-Life Alex. That's one that I highly recommend. There's a ton of stuff on there
Right.
now, and there's stuff that's cheap, indie little experiences you can pop in and try. But
Yeah.
because of the Oculus now, it's cheap enough to just jump in and try it. But yeah, I highly recommend it. There's enough now where you can definitely play.
Yeah, I'm interested now more than I was in the past at least checking it out, because I haven't, and it's getting a little bit bigger here and there. More people are getting into it, and I just don't know if that's. I mean, maybe it is or maybe it isn't. I did a whole episode about like, or a portion of my episode, half of it about like the metaverse and everything and how I felt about that. And I'm not so certain that I want to go a complete like VR route just with the metaverse and everything. But just about with gaming in general, it is something that I would like to try, and I haven't. So maybe once I get the PS5, this is something that I would pick up in the future, because I don't have it now and I haven't dabbled in it really at all. I think I dabbled in it once. I think I at a friend's house, he had a VR. I think I did it one time, and it was like when it first came out,
Uh,
when it was first coming out. And all I did was I rode a roller coaster. Like I didn't
okay,
even
yeah,
play an actual game. Like I just rode on a roller
right.
coaster. But I had fun while I was doing it, but then I never got into it ever again. But it is something that does pique my interest. I'll see if I ever end up getting into it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more than that. I know early on there was more of like, here's what we could do. Here's these kind of like virtual reality experiences, but now there's like full blown
Yeah.
games. And you mentioned the
Hmm.
metaverse. I'm not a big fan of that either. It's like I'm not trying to
Me neither.
take a
Yeah.
job interview through the metaverse or like first date. It's like I
Yeah.
don't want any of that. But for gaming,
Yeah. I
it's
don't want to
dope.
do that. Okay, yeah. Well, I'll definitely check it out, man. It's definitely something that I want to check out, and I think this is cool for the PlayStation users, though. If there's something that they want to jump into, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
For
just
anybody.
I go I kind of flip flop on this because I want PSVR 2 to succeed. I think PlayStation General has these dope first party experiences. They could move over to VR and like excel there and
Hmm.
have these dope games there. But it's just now there's a different market where you have that Oculus Quest, which is so cheap. That's all you need, and there's legit
Yeah,
games there with PSVR
there's just
2.
better options right
Right,
now,
there's a
right?
lot more options and it's
Yeah,
cheaper options. So with
yeah.
PSVR 2, it's like you need the PS5, you need this thing,
Hmm.
which we haven't got a price yet. Could be 300-400 bucks.
Yeah,
So it's just a higher bar of entry
yeah.
to jump
In
in.
addition to paying for your PS5 as well,
Right, right.
you're spending like, it's got to be 300 or more. It's got to be.
I would say that's safe because it does have better
Yeah.
specs than the Oculus 2, which is about 300 bucks. So I think
Hmm.
500 is extreme. And if they do come out of the gate 500, that's nuts. So I would want to
Yeah.
say 400 is maybe the sweet spot, 350 if you can, but probably 400 with all the specs we're talking about. They have, just better actual like resolution within the actual screens. You have the DualSense stuff that's on the actual PSVR 2 with vibration and 3D sound, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot there. So I think this is going to be a premium thing. It's just tough because they have more to compete with now compared to when the PSVR originally launched.
And then how much is a PS5 right now? Is $499 is the price, or is it $599?
Two models.
I don't even remember.
You got $500 is the one with the disc, and then $400 for
Right.
the digital version. So yeah, so you might be able to save $100 on that.
So then if this is like, 300-400, or even if it's 500, you're looking at like, 800 to 1,000 plus, depending on what you're getting. If you're getting different accessories, I'm saying if you're going to get a PS5 and the VR as well,
Right.
all of it together, and then depending on what games you get or any other accessories you get, you're looking at like, 1,000 plus possibly.
That's your tax return in one go, man. So it's like you better be ready to commit, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm hopeful. I want to see that price first, but it seems like with the amount of info we're getting, it seems like this year we're going to get, if not a launch, we're going to get way more info this year. But I'm thinking it looks like they're heading for holiday season. This thing's going to launch.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my opinion.
I do want to check it out. There's, what's crazy is like, as much as I kind of hate jump scares, and not necessarily in movies, but like in real life scenarios, like I don't like going to like Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios or something where like people jump out at you and shit like that. Like I'm not a big fan of stuff like that. That's just me. But I am a fan of, or at least I don't know if I'm a fan, but I want to try it. Like those VR experiences where it's like, I don't even know what it's called because I haven't really looked into it, but I've watched like Twitch streams and stuff and like TikTok videos of dudes with the headset on and they're doing like horror things. Like I want to try that, dude. As much as I hate it in real life, I want to try it. So that's an experience I want to get into.
Right. And there's a lot now. Like one that was big about a year ago, and it's still big, but it's called Phasmophobia. It's on PC, but it's VR. I think you can play it first person if you want to, but that's a big one where it's like you're in these ghost houses and, Blair Witch might just jump out in front of your face. It's like, it's crazy, on that level. So it's like, if you're a fan, you might actually dig that stuff.
Yeah, that is something I'm definitely interested in trying, dude, because I'm a giant horror fan too, but I just don't like being the physical jump scares. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, but it's I'm attracted to it. I want to try it out.
If anything, I know you're streaming more on Twitch. Like if you had that set up, hearing you just like scream top of your lungs, like I think that would just skyrocket. So if you can get in that world, do it.
I know, yeah, because I'm trying to get more into streaming too. I actually been discussing it with people and even thinking about possibly moving my my podcast, because I've done it every week for 2 years, man. Every week for 2 years, missed very little in between there. But I've been thinking about the possibility of maybe moving my episodes to bi-weekly, and then the weeks that I don't have an episode will be the weeks that I stream.
There you go.
So, that way I can have a more gaming centric situation where that you see me play these games that I constantly talk about, but that you never see me play. You'll finally be able to see me play them.
Right.
So I've been thinking about doing something like that.
No, that's a great idea. And it keeps people, gives them content, throughout the week. So they're not waiting for that one. They can engage with you too in real time on Twitch, by commenting. So yeah, I think for sure, figure that out and go that direction.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
Nice, Chazzy. So we'll kind of round out the hour here on these last two. We got next year's Call of Duty has reportedly been delayed to the following year. So IGN has the full article, but I don't know if you caught this online. It seems like we're finally getting a change where we're not getting these things pumped out every year. They're taking the time for the next one. We're still getting one this holiday, and it's that sequel to Modern Warfare from, I want to say 2018, 2019. So just overall, how do you feel about Activision finally, whether they're forced to or what have you? Maybe it's the Microsoft influence, but how do you feel about them actually taking the time now on these releases?
I think that is so much better. I really do. I think that they were pushing out Call of Duties every year for the money, in my personal opinion, as opposed to making a good game. That's really what I think. And it's just constantly, and it was like I feel like they were almost announcing them even like every few months. They were like, we're working on another one just to let you know. Like, Jesus Christ, you haven't even put the one you're working on another one. You haven't even put the one that you just announced a few months ago out yet. You know what I mean? And now you're telling me you're working on another one for the next year. Like, hold on, let's slow down. You know what I mean? And I feel like it also, like, I don't know too many what other games do this where they put out game like this fast? What other companies do this that come out this fast? I know there are some, but I feel like Call of Duty is notorious for that. Like that's their thing. Like every year, no matter what, we've got a new Call of Duty game, whether it's good or not, we're putting it out. Like that's what I feel.
Now, it
So
used
them
to be
taking
Assassin's
time is
Creed was
better.
doing that,
Oh,
and
Assassin's Creed, you're
but even
right.
them, Ubisoft, they're like, we can't keep doing this. Like they kept getting really
Yes.
bad reviews, and when they
Yes.
finally took the time, then I think Origins came out of the gate, and people loved it. So
Mhm.
like they show that
Yes.
we should take the time on these releases.
Yes. Yes. And then even Odyssey, I know Odyssey has some mixed emotions and feelings here and there, but I think Odyssey was much better. The only thing I think people had, I was going to say spoiler alert, but that game's been out for so long. But I think only the real gripe that people had with Odyssey was that it really didn't follow much about the assassins at all. It was kind of just its own thing where it was just like in Greece and he was like kind of an assassin, but not really. And it didn't really link to the actual core of the assassins. I believe, I don't know. I haven't finished it yet. Like I said earlier in this episode, I'm still finishing it. So, but I think that was a lot of the gripe, but you're right. After they started taking a little bit more time, they started getting a little bit better reviews. Like I think Valhalla's got the best reviews in a while, I think.
Yeah.
I heard it's an absolutely beautiful game. Very well done as well. And it's got DLC coming soon too.
Yeah, and
And then I
apparently that
heard-
DLC, it's like they keep saying it's one of their most ambitious DLCs in
Yeah.
a while. So it's like seems like a pretty chunky,
Yeah.
piece of content for those fans. And yeah, I need to jump in, especially Valhalla. I keep hearing good things about it, but
hear
I'm just glad to
nothing but
see
good
it
things.
that it's doing
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, and then for the next Assassin's Creed, keeping on par with Call of Duty, pushing stuff back, and then Ubisoft pushing stuff back. They said that the next Assassin's Creed is going to be on a much smaller scale,
Ooh, I like that.
and they're going to focus on stealth and the core of what an assassin is. They're going to take it back to where they started, is what they're saying. So I think that's a great thing. I think. Activision, I guess, should follow that. Microsoft, whatever you want to call it now, you know what I mean?
True.
They should follow that formula as well because it's seemingly working for Assassin's Creed right now. And we'll see what continues to happen with the DLC and the next entry in the Assassin's Creed franchise being on a smaller scale, going back to its core. So I think that's a good thing for Call of Duty, in my opinion. Like, I think they should take a little bit more time and pump out an amazing game. You know, I mean, you saw what happened with Battlefield 2042 as well. Constant bugs and this and that.
Yep.
Seems like maybe they rushed the production side of things. I mean, the developer side of things. So learn from all these other companies as well, and then learn from your own mistakes. You're pumping them out too fast. You listen to your fans. People aren't as satisfied as they once were. So maybe it's time to take a step back and look at how you can rebuild here and how you can do it. You know, maybe every other year would be great, or just take as much time as you need and pump out an amazing game.
Right. No, I totally agree with you. And just to touch on, you mentioned with that new Assassin's Creed, if that's the route they're going, that sounds really, really interesting to me because it seemed like every release, even the last 3 that came out, it's like this world is 10 times bigger than the last one. It's like, that's cool, but they just keep getting bigger. I'd rather they kind of scale it down. They can focus on maybe the AI on the crowd is more improved, more detail. You can go into any room. It's like, I want these maybe smaller scale. Like, I don't think we keep having to push it and push it. You know, and we used to that like GTA style of like this next map has to be bigger.
Exactly.
I'm not feeling that. I don't think we need to focus on that anymore.
Exactly, because Odyssey is absolutely gigantic. There's times where I'm like, Jesus Christ, like I gotta go all the way over here. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna take, this is great, but the scenery is beautiful, but there's also a lot of nothingness going on. You know what I mean? So it's like, did we need all that? It's beautiful, it's cool. I like the freedom, of course, but then at the same time, it's like, especially when they announce like, oh, we're going to scale it down a little bit. We're going to go back to stealth. We're going to go back to what we used to, Assassin's Creed 1 and the Ezio trilogy. We're going to do a little bit more of that style. It makes you look back and question like, damn, does Odyssey need to be this big? You know what I mean? Like, and I don't even know if Valhalla is even bigger than Odyssey or not. I don't remember because I think I covered Valhalla when it first came out, but I was also teetering on not spoiling too much for myself. So I don't think I dove as deep as I would on other things, you know? But yeah, I'm stoked for that. I'm stoked that Call of Duty is going to be able to hopefully focus more and create even better games. And I'm stoked that Assassin's Creed is going to be on a smaller scale as well.
Yeah, same. So we'll end on this last one here. And this is more to branch onto another topic, but we got Shadow Warrior 3 will be day 1 launch on PS Now when it releases on March 1st. So this is announced by PlayStation. You can go to the PlayStation blog to actually see some of the details, but I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on Shadow Warrior 3. It's this cool like FPS Doom style game. It looks cool, but it's launching day 1.
I've looked at it. I've never got into the games, but I know of it though. And I know it. And that's exactly what I was going to say. It reminds me of, it's very Doom-esque, the way that they do everything, you know?
Right, and it looks, visually looks stunning, really cool. But what's interesting about this is it's kind of Sony first. It's showing them like being interested in replicating that Game Pass style of these games are going to launch here first, in addition to be able to buy it. And this brings up the whole for the past couple months, there's been rumors, I think initially from Bloomberg, saying that Sony is working on their Game Pass competitor, quote unquote. It's called Project Spartacus. Do you think this is gonna, we're gonna see an announcement soon? Is this tied to that, or is this Sony just dipping their toes into like having that day one release?
I think that they're testing the waters with certain things, but I also was I covered some of this a long time ago, where the CEO of Sony originally said that I don't remember the exact quote, so I'm just going to kind of paraphrase what I remember here. But he was saying something about when people were kind of saying when Game Pass was getting bigger and better and adding more and doing all the stuff that they're doing now. One of the best gaming subscription services around, if you ask me, Game Pass. And I believe that the Sony CEO was asked about it and if PlayStation was going to end up doing anything, if Sony was going to come out with a PlayStation alternative. And I believe he was saying like, no. At the originally, he was saying no, we don't need this. We've got what we've got and what works for us, and that's all there is to it. There was a lot of, I don't know if it was a lot, but there was some backlash on that, where PlayStation fans were saying like, we want this, like we want this, like we
Right.
want something, an alternative, like we would enjoy that. And he was just like, we don't need it. And then later his tone changed and they were saying like, yeah, we're working on something, we're rummaging through some ideas and this and that. And as time goes further and further on, I feel like it's going to end up being announced for sure. And I think they did kind of confirm for sure, like we are definitely working on something. I believe, I could be wrong about that. Maybe it was just somebody telling me that they wanted it. I don't know. But like, I think that Sony confirmed, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you know, but I believe they confirmed like we are doing something. We're working on something.
When you mentioned that, that sounds familiar. I feel like it was very vague, but they were at least
Yeah.
confirming like we're looking into it. We're not just like letting it
We're
pass
looking
us
into
by.
it or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they finally were like, yeah, we're gonna do something. And I was looking it up as well. And they're also saying that now a tweet from January 27th, 2022, and now from a reliable source for gaming news has suggested that Project Spartacus will transition to the service's proper name, and that name will be PlayStation Infinite. So it
Mm.
looks like this is definitely a pretty confirmed thing, from sources and from insiders, that it's definitely going to happen, that PlayStation users will for sure get a Game Pass alternative on PlayStation. And I think it's dope. I think that this is a cool thing. And I think that's where gaming is headed. I mean, Game Pass, you see what Nintendo's doing with their service, whether regardless of how I feel about it or not. And then, PlayStation PlayStation has the PS Plus and the PS Now, right?
They
And
do.
I don't have a PlayStation currently, so all I know is what I've read about it or what people have told me. Like, you have one. Can you tell me a little bit more? Like, inform the guy who's supposed to know everything.
Well, no, it's kind of crazy where PlayStation Plus is one of the first big ones out of the gate, where it was as a subscription model. You pay per month, you get access to the multiplayer, like the online services, but you'd get 3 free games every month. And for a while,
Okay, so like Xbox Live, that was like what Xbox Live was.
yes, and then
Yeah.
for a while they were the ones kind of leading in that form, and then when Game Pass really took off, they were just providing way more of a backlog of games in there. They're providing these first-party games, releasing their first, and eventually they succeeded after PlayStation Plus, where they weren't just dropping 3 random games every month. It was like legit experiences coming out day one on the service, all included in that plan. So it's kind of weird how PlayStation kind of started with that being the most popular, but
Yeah.
then Game Pass took them over. But
Right.
yeah, so you do get, stuff with PlayStation Plus. It's just nothing like Game Pass. So I'm hopeful
Yeah.
that, because I think you're right. It's pretty much, this is going to happen, whether it's a matter of is it announced, the next month, this year. But I'm hoping that they really try and like rein in, because there's PlayStation Plus, there's PlayStation Now, which lets you stream games and play a backlog. If they can kind of encompass into all one thing, where you just pay that one subscription
Right.
and you get access
Right.
to all this stuff, I think that's the way to go.
Right. So PS Now is just streaming of the back catalogs, right?
It's both, where you can stream. I think it's only you're streaming PS4 games or PS3 games, but you can download other games. It's like PS2 era games you can download. It's something about I want to say it was the PS3 games, you could not download them. You had to stream them because of whatever. It was that cell chip. It was a whole thing. But the rumor is they figured it out where it's also going to be included where you have access to the entire backlog of Sony games. I don't know if that's true yet, but if they could also kind of, if they're not going to be dropping the next God of War, next Spider-Man day one, if they can at least have a crazy backlog that you have access to with this new service, that's a way to compete. But I don't know if they're going to be dropping, Last of Us 8 on
Yeah.
Sony's Game Pass day one.
Yeah. The PS Now, I was also reading the PS Now is available on PC. Do you know anything about
It
that?
is, yeah. So you
So
can,
is it like Xbox? You could just play Xbox games on PC?
you can, as long as you have a good enough connection. I've tried it. It's kind of hit or miss with like the lag and stuff, but you can actually just stream games. You can play there. So that is kind of a way to experience these PlayStation games. I was at work and I wanted to queue a download on my PS5. So I just like logged in. I can see my actual screen. I can turn on my PS5. I could play games if I want, or I can just jump into the menu, which is what I did. So they have that now. It's just, I don't know if it's on the level of what Xbox does with its xCloud and like Game Pass, but they do have
Yeah.
it.
Okay, yeah, because I do that with my Xbox and everything, but everything's just like integrated right into your computer. I don't know
Right.
how it is because I haven't done it. I haven't tried it with PlayStation, but everything's just right there. You can just launch a game. You can play it on your Xbox. You can pick up where you left off on your computer. You know what I mean? And you're on your PC, or you can just play on your PC. The only thing that PC doesn't have with Xbox is I don't believe they have the xCloud feature on PC for Xbox. Like I do it all the time where I just hop into a game instantly on my Xbox, through the xCloud thing. But I can't seem I don't have that option on my PC. You have to pay for it. Like if
Oh,
it's not
gotcha.
available. Yeah. So I don't think they've integrated that into PC yet, unless I'm mistaken and I haven't seen the feature. But like I do that all the time. Like I hopped into Forza the other night because I haven't played the newest Forza. Hopped into that, checked it out for a brief moment. Hopped into a Power Rangers fighting game, you know what I mean? And then hopped into Mortal Kombat, revisited that for a little bit, and then I just hopping around like checking out games because they're all just there. It's not technically free because I'm paying for it monthly, but you know what I
Right.
mean. I don't have to pay for each game here and there. I'm just hopping in and out. But I can't hop in and out like that on my PC though with
Yeah.
certain games.
No, you're totally right. And you touch on one thing that I wish PlayStation, maybe they can, roll this into that new service, but it's something that I loved playing Halo Infinite, where I had it on my PC and I have, higher frame rate stuff so I can die
Right.
faster, I guess, with a higher frame rate, but
Yeah.
I had it
Yeah.
there and then I have it on my Xbox Series S. It's on the living room. So I can just go back and forth and it saves that same save point. So it's
Yes.
like it's fluid. It
Yes.
just picks it up, and Sony doesn't have anything like that. So if they could do that, it would just be dope. And I don't know if maybe the community doesn't need it at the end of the day, but I thought it was awesome to be able to just, with Forza too, the same thing, jump back and forth between my PC and my console, and it was just fluid.
Yeah, I think it's easy. And I think it's in a sense. I talked about this a long time ago with Juice before he actually brought it up, and he was like, "How would PlayStation do that? It's so much more easier for Xbox because it's already Microsoft.
Mm,
So you have like Xbox Game Pass. You've got Microsoft PCs. They just integrate everything together. It's all pretty kind of seamless. But how would PlayStation do it? Because it's owned by the PCs are Microsoft. You're
right.
you're still on a Windows platform. I mean they're gonna have to do they got to strike some sort of deal? Is there like, how does that all work? Yeah, Sony makes PCs too, but you're still running on Windows. It's still Microsoft.
Right.
So it's like, does Microsoft get a cut? How would that work if they did an app? You know what I mean? Like on a PC and it was like PlayStation. Like, how does that all work? And I didn't have the answers for that. So
Yeah,
I
same.
don't
It's
know how
tricky.
that works.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's the key to their how easy it is for them to integrate stuff between console and PC because they own the PC market. But I imagine if Sony wanted, they could strike that deal like you're saying and pay whatever cut just to get more consumers on a different platform. But yeah, it's tricky. I'm
I
not
think it,
sure.
I think it would I think it would be good for gamers, man. And I think this whole day one launch with Shadow Warrior 3 on PS Now, I think it's cool, man. I think it's cool. It's for the gamers.
Right, for sure. And I love that. That's what I love about Game Pass. So if they can do that same kind of stuff, because I played so many games on there that I wouldn't flat out download or buy, but I get to try them and I become a fan. So it's like
Exactly.
that's the way to go.
Exactly. It also works kind of negatively for developers, though. If you try a game and you're like, yeah, I don't like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas in the past, you would have had to buy that game no matter what,
true,
Yeah.
true. Well, they got to step it up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Chazzy. Well, we'll end it for the episode. It's been a blast talking with you. I could shoot the shit with you for hours, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, I have no problem. I appreciate it. So let's end it. Where can they find you on the internet and keep up with Chazzy?
Yeah, if you're looking for me on my personal, you can find me on Instagram at IG_hates_Chazzy, and it's a double ZY. If you're looking for the podcast, you can find it on Instagram at Side Projekt Podcast, and it's a K for the project, just like Linkin Park or Mortal Kombat. And Side Projekt Podcast on everything, actually. Side Projekt Podcast on Instagram, on YouTube. You can find it. My podcast is a visual podcast, so you can watch it on YouTube, or you can listen or podcast stream wherever you like to listen to. It's available there. That's pretty much it. And then I'm building my Twitch, my streaming. I haven't streamed too much lately. It's just been kind of mainly just chatting, or like when the Nintendo Direct was revealed, I do stuff like that. I just haven't had the time lately, but like I said earlier in the episode, I'm going to try to make more time. And my Twitch URL, it may change. My username may change to just project like I'm wearing right now. But
Nice.
for right now, if you are interested for when I do stream and you want to get notified and all that good stuff, it's Chazzy Did It on Twitch.
Awesome. And I'll be sure to include all the different, even though I made you say all that stuff, I'm going to have a banner saying all
no
the
worries,
things,
man.
so they can see it for sure. So I'll keep on the line for a second, Chazzy, but we'll end it here for the stream. Thanks for watching. And you can find us also on Twitter at Plastic Heart Pod. We'll see you guys next time.